Hello, what up? What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Blood Splatter Chatter here on a Wednesday afternoon with my brother Link to talk 28 weeks later. It's what is it? Tomorrow night, we're gonna have the release of 28 years later. We're all gonna be going to the theater this week, seeing it and talking about it next week. So I figure this would kind of the perfect lead up to that, man. Link picked this as well. We were gonna do it anyway, but I'm glad you picked it. You've been saying it forever, man. And honestly, I saw this movie once, and I only remember the opening scene and like the middle bit where the husband meets the wife. For whatever reason, I had forgotten the rest of the movie, and I kind of had always had a thought in my mind that like, yeah, that start is really good, but it just it falls off towards the end. And obviously we'll go through it, we'll go deeper, but I thought it was fucking badass from start to finish. I was so impressed with it this time. Like the opening scene is ridiculously iconic, but like the premise and some of the stuff that they did with it, it's not as grimy and like gritty as the original. It's not as good as the original. Like obviously, it's more of like a standard movie in a lot of ways. It's got like just the way it's written and everything, and shot to a degree, more of a spectacle, more maybe a little bit more entertaining. You know what I mean? Like just like to a degree. Awesome though. I fucking loved it, bro. Just some quick fun facts before we get into it, or just some background information. I looked in like how much were Danny Boyle and Alex Garland involved in this, and a little bit. I didn't know Danny Garland, or excuse me,
I like that.
Boyle. He directed some of the scenes in the opening sequence, not all of it, but he was there on set. And then Alex Garland put his input in on the writing process. He's since said he doesn't like love the movie, but it doesn't fucking matter because I do. That's what's more important, man. But really enjoyed it, man. I would say it's almost like a top 10 zombie movie. I've seen it in other people's top 10, and I've always been like, oh, is it? After watching this, it's so cool, and like the zombies are so much scarier and more badass than they are in the majority of zombie movies. But what up, chat? Jace, Herb, appreciate you. Johnny Recaps, my brother, just dropped a new one on Suitable Flesh. So you guys make sure you go check out Johnny Recaps. Yeah, that's one Link and I enjoyed last year. Kenneth Bird, Kaka, my brother, appreciate you guys being in here. But how about you, man? I know you're a huge fan. 28 Days Later being like one of your favorite movies, your favorite horror movie. And how do you feel like how have you always felt about this one, and how was the recap or rewatch? I got Johnny Recaps on the mind.
This one, I always like to ache in it. I've seen a lot of people say they prefer this one over 28 Days Later, and I get that to a degree.
I could see it, yes.
And even if they've seen the first one, I can still see why some people might prefer weeks over days. Mm-hmm. I'm not me, but I can put my mind in that mindset. But if you've seen it first, if you've seen Weeks first, I definitely feel like this is the more entertaining one, because this is the straightforward. It's like you said, it's more commercialized, so it's like certain moments are it's more manufactured in a sense.
Yes,
so you're gonna get those certain tropes or bits that you weren't necessarily getting. There's more nuanced in Days, but this is, I would say, it's like Aliens to Alien.
That's a good one.
That's a best comparison, because for everything that people like don't like about Aliens, it's like it lacked the nuance that Alien had. It didn't have that grit or the atmosphere that the first one had. It's like the same thing applies to like this one, like the action setup. And to be honest, rewatching this one, I feel like this is the movie where they kind of more cement. They're zombies, but this one, in the first one, you never really see them bite anybody or anything like that. It's more just a vicious, visceral attack. And this one, there's a few moments where he's just like bite, run off to the next victim, stuff like that. So it was leaning more towards the zombie stuff. But I've always thought it was a fun film. It's, for me, bro, you know how I feel about 28 Days Later. That's like the first movie that a horror movie I adored. And so like going into this one, when I saw this the first week it came out, took my mom to see it for Mother's Day.
Oh, nice.
But I was excited for it, but I do think that it, whereas Days, upon more rewatches, I always find more reasons to love it. Like I was telling you the other day, I was like, I'm watching it for the millionth time, I'm always discovering things about that movie, little things like, you know, when they're like, so I couldn't believe I never fucking noticed it before because I've watched this movie so much that when they're driving through the fields and like the flower fields, you know, there's like a really colorful scene with all these, that it's like a fucking painting, you know. I think you brought that up actually. That's why it stood out to me when I watched it. But you know, this shit like that, I'm always noticing subtle little things in that movie. And this one, the more I rewatch it, I don't hate it, but the more this is not one I can rewatch a lot without starting to pick it apart. Like, this movie is, it's either like it all boils down to the ineptitude of the government or just like really fucked up coincidences, you know.
Exactly.
But we'll get to that. But that's sorry.
That's part of what I was thinking when it's like it's more like a regular movie where it's like, oh, you happen to find your mom who happens to be the key. Your dad also happens to be like the head janitor at this site that has all access.
Passes everywhere.
Coincidences, more like regular movie stuff. Jay's saying he has a confession to make. Has not seen the first movie, bro. I think it took me a long time.
That's a common thing. Movie. Yeah,
because I don't think it was. I mean, it's earned its place in horror history, like in horror circles. It's one of the big ones, especially in the past 25 years or so. But I don't know. I don't feel like it was as big at the time, or just like that everyone saw it, because I definitely didn't. And it's unique. It's more of like I don't know. It's less of like a big blockbuster movie, and it's like there's like a sadness to the first one, like that atmosphere that you're talking about. It's kind of a sad film, like in a lot of ways.
It's very morose.
One more thing. Ninja Go Boy 64 says first, there has been better. I would agree. There's definitely been better. He says, I like other zombie films. Which ones? What's your favorite? You guys in the chat, like, what's your favorite #1 zombie movie of all time? Like I said, I plan on making like a top 10 list, maybe make a video, maybe just for fun, but partially because I was curious after watching this, like, would this fit into my top 10 zombie movies? It's because for me, I think it's so rewatchable. I think I could throw it on anytime because it's like it's got a great pace to it, super visceral, super fun. It doesn't take itself overly serious, but there is like plenty of themes to dig into. I'm right there with you, Johnny Recaps. That's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. My #1 is got to be Return of the Living Dead. But hey, well, first of all, did you have something else you wanted to say before we dive into that opening scene a little bit deeper?
No. Let's get. Oh, where's Danny? Something about Danny Boy. Oh, we'll get to it. It'll come to me. We'll get to it. Oh no, the first scene. It's funny that Alex Garland and then we're disappointed, but it's like, you guys chose the director. Like, Danny Boyle handpicked this dude to
I don't think it was, and that's another thing I didn't know. What's the guy's name? It's a little bit tricky to pronounce. Always afraid I'm going to mess it up.
Spanish.
Juan Carlos Fresnadillo is how I'm going to say it. And yeah, that's like exactly what you said. Danny Boyle handpicked him to direct it, and I haven't heard him say that he didn't like it necessarily.
Yeah,
I think it's Garland that is more said, like, with the writing. I'm sure it's the stuff we've already pointed out. Just like the coincidences and like the lack of the grit that the first one had. But anyway, yeah, this opening scene, man, it grips you right off the bat. There's so much that happens. Like you just get a glimpse of these people in the house, just barely a glimpse. But like it's just enough to make you care about them, especially like the mom and the dad and their relationship. And it's just so fucking intense. You see the decisions that have to be made. You see the guy leave his wife there. And then right after that, he gets the guy on the boat killed. And it's so cinematic with the way that drone shot is going. And then that it continues. It sets up the whole rest of the movie, or at least the second act. Because that is another downside of it. Like most of the good character stuff happens here. And it happens at the midway point of the movie. Then after that, you're left with the two kids. And they're fine. It's all interesting enough to be something. But your most interesting characters are taken out of the picture halfway through the movie. But so good, man. Such an iconic opening scene.
No, yeah, it kind of sets the tone for the movie in a sense that, I mean, I don't know if the movie's ever made to really get back. The breakout scene is cool, but upon rewatching, it was just because what I did appreciate about wouldn't kind of extend past the breakout scene, but this movie does there's a lot of scenes described in Days that they tried to visualize in this movie. You know, like when Mark's explaining Selena's first dude that she's just to chop up real quick in the first one. When he's explaining how his family got lost in the parking structure or whatever, everything was dark and he was like just walking on bodies. They tried to do that with, you know, in this movie. You know,
I never really caught that. Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't know if it was because of like the era it was shot in. Like this is 07, so it means they was filmed in 2006, 2005. It's a lot of fucking shaky cam and just shit that I didn't mind. But back then, as the years go on, I just kind of, it's just suddenly, it's just so.
It's literally hard to watch for me.
Yes.
Like when it starts shaking so much, I was like, okay, I gotta give my eyes a break and like look away. And you're right, it was the era. Like at the time, nobody cared. Everyone was shaking the hell out of the cam. And I get it. Sal saying the opening scene was intense and really set up the tension. I think we all knew the mom was going to survive the initial attack. I just love that scene, like the visualization of her at the window. That actor, he has such a great face.
Carlisle,
yes, Robert Carlisle, man, who was in Train Spotting.
Yes, Big Danny, but he's worked with Danny Boyle quite a bit. Yeah.
He was so good. I think he's fantastic in the movie. There's the opening scene in which he's fantastic, and then the scene where he has to tell his kids about leaving his mom. I saw her get bitten just with his accent and the delivery and the look on his face, and you can feel his anguish so much in those scenes. But yeah, he's fantastic in the movie. And then as a zombie, he's really good too. He's like one of the all-time top zombies in zombie history.
His transformation, bro, that was still unsettling. What was I? Oh no, speaking of the opening scene, Robert Carlisle, like, okay, so when I was younger, I kind of was like, bro, like, mom, she chose her own fate. What is he supposed to do? Like, you can only control somebody. So, I mean, not control, you can only help somebody, like you can't force them at the end of the day. And so it's like, it never really bothered me when I was younger. I have more to turn over now being older, but as a younger man, I was like, fuck it, bro. She went after that random kid. That's her fault. No, she has 2 kids on her that needed her. But it's like now being a parent, like, I think that paternal instinct will kind of kick in when you see like a lone child or something like that.
Right.
But it's like, I remember reading on like online forums and threads of like people just calling him like, he's a pussy. I'm like, how's he a pussy? You smart. Now I kind of, it's like I do see why he's a pussy, but at the same time, it's like, people don't often talk about fight or flight, but there's like the 3 F's. There's fight, flight, or freeze.
Right.
And the boy kind of fucked them up because when they're in the flight mode, he's stuck, doesn't want to listen. That freezing thing fucked them up. So it's like, I can't the dad was in between a rock and a hard place. Like I'm at a point where it's like, you're right either way. Like you would have been right to stay there and try to help his wife, even though it was a fuck situation. They both would have, because she coincidentally she was in a carrier. Spoiler. She, like, the virus didn't affect her. She could what do they call
that? Immunity, natural immunity. He might have. This is kind of the cool thing. If he went back to help her, he probably would have died.
Yeah.
Right? He probably would have died. The kid was going to die either way.
Yes.
And here's the real question. Him running, did that take the zombies away from his wife? Because even though she's got natural immunity, if they kept biting her, she still would have died. You know what I mean? She would have bled to death or whatever, I would assume. So that there's a possibility that him running is the thing that saved his wife and kept her alive. Not that he's not still a bit of a pussy. You can see from the look on his face. He
wasn't happy.
I would be too. It's pretty intense. He got that camera shaking around. It's fucking terrifying.
He was you could tell he was remorseful. But what was I wondering? I was wondering about how the wife escaped that.
Hell yes, Jace, and the Born Identity, the shaky camera.
I'd say more so.
Born Identity. I always kind of kicked that off.
Yeah, I definitely Born Identity, because it's like by the fucking fourth one or the second one that came out like 2000. First one was actually pretty solid, but by the second one that came out 2004, that shit. And then the Ultimatum came out 2007, the third one, by the way, coincidentally. That one, it was extreme fucking shaky cam. Like that's
Rob Zombie. I'm thinking off the top of my head. I feel like there's a lot of shaky cam in Rob Zombie movies. Super popular at the time. A lot, like everything. Remember when we did the Hitcher remake, which was right around there, and like just pretty much every movie at the time was doing the shaky cam,
like that weird slow motion.
It was a major trend of the time. But this is the last thing I have to say on the opening scene. Like I think it's like when they get to the boat. And like he's trying to get in my head, I'm thinking like, oh, can these zombies swim? Probably not. Swim. When they jump in the water, it's like, oh fuck, like it's really like zombies in water are kind of fucking terrifying.
And the way they just kind of it's not like they just dip, they just walk until it's like they walk. You know how when someone walks against the couch and they kind of go lower, they just keep walking until they descend, and it's a cool visual.
Right.
But no, let me ask you about the wife. Okay. Because I was thinking about this, even if she's immune, like it's not like we don't really know how they interact with the infected, interact with someone or something they bit.
Right.
Because I was thinking, like, even if they bit her, it would still be like they're not zombies. They're like it's a violence thing. Like they want to just rip you to shreds, beat you to tear you apart,
hit you with gun butts and shit. Yeah.
Yes,
I love that.
So it's like. She either had to fend those infected off some sort of way, or it's like, because it's like, I felt like the house was swarmed with them, like that's what I'm saying. Did they all, like you said, when the husband started running, because I know they do have the thing with like this infected can smell.
Right. You know what I wonder if it is? It's like kind of like, sometimes like a shark will bite a human and like then they don't like the taste. I wonder if that's like her blood is like, oh, wait, that's not right. Like,
I could see that.
Got certain blood that they don't like, and that's why she only got bit once. But I also think she got bit after she got out of the house. Because remember when they do the little flashback and they show her on a hill, like trying to get away? I could be totally wrong, but I felt like in that scene, it was implied that she gets bit then. But again, I could totally be wrong. Either she's bit in the house or she's bit out in the grass somewhere. You know what I'm talking about? And they have a little flashback of showing her like after he meets her or something, maybe when the kids find her. Oh, here's another question about her. Did you think that she wasn't completely having no effects from the rage virus? Like she's kind of raging, but she's controlling it. Like when she embraces her son at first, she's like squeezing the shit out of him. And
I think that's because she had just been fucking traumatized and alone for the last 6 months, not knowing.
I was taking it because she also wasn't like super articulate. She could have been like, hey, you might want to stay away from me. I have been bitten. Some things, you know what I mean? Like she wasn't able to, she did talk at one point. She's like, I want to see my children, but she had like this intense look on her face the whole time. So that's kind of my read of it.
Well, only because the spoiler, a certain character didn't have the same reaction as her when they were bit later or infected later on in the film. Like, but yeah, I was trying to think with like her, like most, people don't really think about it, but like imagine being isolated for 6 months, not knowing if the world's if you're gonna ever see somebody normal again. You're like, it's like, I think she was traumatized with a bit of shock because it's like, she didn't know she was gonna see normal people again. It's like the world's coming back to some sort of order. Her husband, like that's got to be a weird stick in the road because even though she loves him, she's still pissed at him, and like she doesn't know whether he survived, and it's like, you did survive, you motherfucker. So it's like, I don't know. I think she had just been, I think, isolation too, because it was like what, 6? Because okay, so the movie opened up and it was like maybe like a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks into the.
No, because I thought the same thing, but remember when it goes to the next, I don't know, it's weird because you do get the sense in the opening scene that they've been there for a little bit, right?
Right.
But then, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't it after that it says, oh, never mind, I might be thinking of the end of the movie. I was thinking then it says 28 days later. Or maybe it's just catching us up on like, oh, it was 12 days later. Because, it does that little bit at the beginning, like 10 days later, 12 days later, 28 days later, something. kind
No,
of catches
that was, I think that was because that was when they were like establishing the government coming in, whatever. And I think that they came in like 28. They came in a month after the last infected case, so it was a month after the infected died out that they got to. And so it was like when they said like 15 days or whatever, that was 2 weeks after the last infected had died and the military had established itself within the UK.
Jay says it bothers me that the kids decided to risk their lives to find a picture. I get your point for sure.
Yeah,
I can kind of let it slide because kids think they're fucking invincible. Just the way they're running through the streets. This is something I was thinking. There's like something romantic. This sounds so fucked up, but there's something romantic about the apocalypse, right? Like empty streets, like going to zombie land and going there, and you've got the amusement park to yourself. And like I love the way that's kind of like shown in that scene where like you got this carefree nature of these kids, like how quickly they would heal. Almost the next generation like gets used to shit really quick, but then how quick it becomes real when they find that dead body. It's like, oh god, they get to see, or the girl does when she finds that dead body, and it gets really serious. I just thought that was really cool. Johnny, recaps. Same, bro. Always forget runners in this movie until I rewatch it. Same. This was only my second watch. I'm like, oh shit, Hawkeye. Oh shit, Hemdell. Oh shit, Michael from Lost. Like everybody's Imogen Poots. Oh my god, everyone's in this movie.
That's sort of, this is like one of his favorite roles to play, is like a military dude. Like he played in SWAT, similar role.
What was that, Jarhead?
Hertzlocker.
Hertzlocker. Yes.
That was it.
That's
so
what
when
I knew him from originally, I feel like that was like his first big thing that I became familiar with him from.
When he got cast as Hawkeye, that I was like, oh, fucking perfect, because those three movies immediately came to mind. I was like, SWAT, 28 Weeks Later, and Hurt Locker. I was like,
right,
that's Hawkeye right there, baby.
Right, he's got the scope right away. He's like Hawkeye and shit up at his perch. I know, super funny.
One person that I was this is random, but Rose Byrne. There's something I don't not like her. But I don't like her. I don't dislike her, but I don't. Every time she's in a movie, like I'm like, oh man, you guys couldn't have found anyone else. Like when she was cast in X-Men First Class, I was like, you guys couldn't have found anyone else.
Oh, is that what I know her
she
from?
Plays a side.
Oh, she's Moira.
So much. Yeah.
Is she the mom in Insidious? I know she's in Insidious.
Yes, and in Neighbors. Neighbors is a great movie. But yeah, she is the mom in Insidious. Okay. With Patrick Wilson.
She's one of those people. It's like I didn't know who the hell she was. There was like halfway through the movie when I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, now they're gonna do kind of have the relationship bit, have the little love story. Like her and Hawkeye are gonna have their moments, just like we had in 28 Days Later. But it's so much more organic in 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
And this is just like hinted at, like, oh, there could be something here, but it's nothing. They both die soon afterwards, and it's just like those are the things that just made it feel like a little bit more generic than obviously 28 Days Later. A half-hearted attempt at that.
I think that shown to me the most upon this rewatch was like, I think, and that's like where people kind of, that's what Days sacrifices, but that's when people complain about how maybe Days is a little bit slow or not really much happens. It's like that's why you care about those characters at the end.
100,000%.
They'll spend the time.
I keep thinking about that Cujo little fun fact about you. When they test screened it and they took out 15 minutes of the buildup, people didn't enjoy the climax of the movie as much. And I think that's a great point. 28 Days Later. I feel like the first time I saw 28 Days Later, I was kind of like, what's the big deal? Because I don't think first of all, it was hyped up. You know what I mean? It had been years afterwards. But exactly that. It's like, not much happens. It's a lot of just chilling. And then honestly, going back and like watching more like Dawn of the Dead, that's such a part of zombie movies where you have that lull time. And I always think of that as like the metaphor for death, where zombies are such a good metaphor for death, where it's like people make fun of The Walking Dead, like, oh, you can just walk past them. It's like, do it every day. Eventually death will get you. The zombies will get you. Yep. And plus there's like again, talking about like the apocalypse, it would be kind of boring in the apocalypse. There should be some like lack of shit going on because there's nothing to do. There's nothing going on. So it's like, as long as that's done right in the movie and it's there for a reason. I think it actually really helps a good zombie movie. Sal says, felt like they were trying to Americanize the film. I thought that too. They're like, so the American military came in. Like, oh yeah, that gave you a really good excuse to cast a bunch of Americans in this movie.
Oh, you know what's crazy though? Renner's the only American in this movie besides the dude from the Harold Perot, his helicopter buddy, because Idris Elba is British. Rose Byrne is British. They're both British
I didn't know that.
actors playing top American military.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
This is super random, but I'm watching it and I see Idris Elba, and I'm like, oh, I'm like Idris Elba, and I was probably a little high at the time. I'm like, wait a minute, is that a name? Idris Elba? that can't be a name. Idris Elba? Like they're just putting fucking sounds together. And I had to look it up. Like, okay, it just sounds like a nonsense like words, but no, that's the dude's name.
I do that with words sometimes, where it's like I'm like, I'll keep repeating it. I was like, is that the right word? It's like, why is it? It just, when you really kind of look at the sounds made from words put together, sometimes it'll kind of blow your mind. You got to be hot for it.
Roads. What is it? You know what I'm talking about? What movie is that? So like, if you say any word more than like 10 times, it becomes nonsense. Like, what are we doing here? Johnny Recap says he moved over here about 10 years ago. That's exactly what would happen in real life. They're useless over here with anything on a national scale. It's part of the reason why we do get involved. The U.S. gets involved in everything. Like, part of it is like, oh my God, look at the U.S. always involved in shit. But it's not, we are being asked to for certain things. Like, we're just capable of handling shit.
Man,
Chris Farley. I don't know what you're talking about, but I like it. Might leave this one up here for a little bit.
Might be the nonsensical words.
I don't know. It would work though. What did I want to say? So I guess we kind of. Dude, this is. There's so many like lists that I want to make. I'm always trying to say, this was one of the best ever. But like that zombie transformation. First of all, the way it's like edited together, where they're finding out about the wife, saliva is, she's still infected. She could still infect other people. Idris Elba, if that's his real name, is going down there to kill her, and then the husband is showing up. It's just like it's so goddamn good. But when he kisses her, first of all, that's a really cool way to like start this whole thing. Like it starts out with love and just first of all, like all the emotion, like that's the moment. Sal said this earlier. Da-na-na. Sal said, "I wish they'd played more off the tension between the mom and the dad." Totally. Like it kind of peaks there, and that's just like the way that the story was gonna be able to work. Because I do think it works to have the dad as like the main zombie bad guy afterwards. Like that all works pretty well. But it is emotional right there. I wish they could have done more with it, but I do like appreciate what we do get, and just starting out everything from a kid, like sloppy ass fucking kiss. Like I thought that was amazing, and then him just turning into a zombie. That's what I was gonna say. Is that the best? Like zombie transformation ever, one of the best, like someone becoming a zombie. In the first one where you've got the heavy set guy, that's a really good zombie.
That's what the dad in this one reminded me of, was that turn. Like those were both very solid, because you're like, oh no, bro. Like the whole, you can just, no matter how the story plays out from then and there, it's going to be kind of a shit show, just because these characters are gone now, or the dads are, it's gonna be rough for the kids.
Thank you. That's what he was saying. Chris Farley, Road, just like Tommy Boy. Thank you. Roads.
All right, let's get into the coincidences.
Sure, yeah.
This is something that I just really bothered me on last night's watch. That never bothered me before. But it's like we said it before. The dad's got to pass fucking anywhere. Okay, cool. I can understand that. Maybe he's.
And we never see him do his job though. We never see him like do his job. We're just told like, oh yeah, he does have that job, and he's really good at it. He gets a key to everywhere. You super trust this guy.
So that's okay. We can overlook the dad, but then we get to the mom. She's a special isolated. This is a first infected into an area we're trying to repopulate, right? You know, we're gonna have nobody watching the goddamn door, even though she's restrained. We're not gonna have anybody outside the door, so he can just and so that means like anybody who had that fucking pass can walk right the fuck in. It doesn't even matter if they're military, you go right in. I don't know that
the kids are the only kids in the country at the time, and they are the key to possibly curing this thing and possibly spreading this thing. And their mom is the only survivor of a zombie attack that we know of. And there's a lot of coincidences right there, but that's kind of the thing that sets this movie, like, makes it different and not as special as 28 Days Later.
Yeah,
there's not the care to it. It's a little bit more like, you know, slapped together. Is my internet dipping? Because I'm seeing some internet. Okay, we're storming over here in Illinois. I'm good.
No, you're coming good to me. Yeah. No, but it's like, okay, then when they get to the containment scene, they put everybody down in the fucking the lot, and they go out of their way to be like, we're locking you in here for your own safety. But they forgot every door but one. And then Robert Carlyle, who's the first person that sees Robert Carlyle? His son.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great, but other than that, if you kind of turn your brains off for that, like the spectacle of that moment, I think is like really, really badass.
Yeah.
Like you're just like thinking of that. Like if you put it, first of all, there's a lot of things that are there's a lot of coincidences, but the whole natural immunity, totally possible, right? Like that's something that definitely could happen. If you got 1 million people bit by a zombie, one of them's probably going to have something that, you know, something different happens. They don't turn into a zombie. Also, I was thinking about that, like the idea of, oh shit, it's kicked off. We're surrounded by the military. They have a plan. Their plan might just be to shove us down in an isolated area. And just like thinking about like, what else are you going to do? Now, if you run from the military, you're going to get shot. Just like that idea. That's like a claustrophobic idea of being tied down there. But then just like the ripple effect. A crowd. One gets bitten here. Now we've got 2 zombies. 3 zombies, 12 zombies. You know what I mean? That's like, to me, that's like such a cool idea, and they did it pretty goddamn well. The second half of the movie is not nearly as good, but it's still good. Like that, the whole third act is exciting enough. And the other thing I wanted to say is like, I appreciate the way that they set up all the main players of the third act in the first couple acts, just with little things, showing the helicopter guy, showing Hawkeye, showing Idris Elba, just enough of these people to make it feel organic when they're now like your main characters in the second or the third act of the movie.
They're not just randos. Yeah, like with Harold Perot, like I didn't mind him picking up.
Appreciate you, Ninja Go Boy. Appreciate you.
Later, Ninja Boy. But what do you think, Robert, the dad? Do you think he was? Because we're kind of speaking on, like, you know, bringing up again what you just said a few minutes ago about the different effects it would have on people. So, like, the dad did turn into an infected, but do you think he was kind of semi-conscious, like intelligent? Because was he stalking the kids throughout the film?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good point. Well, one thing is he pokes out his wife's eyes. Which first, that's like a nod to when Jim does that in the first one, where he gouges out that guy's eyes. And then I saw someone had said they thought that was like his guilt coming out. She knows, she saw me be a coward, and I'm trying to.
So he's getting rid of
his guilt. Right. And then later on, they say she like calls him dad or something, and you can see him like thinking for a second, right before his daughter shoots him.
He was because it reminded him of when the wife screamed out "Don," and he just kept doing what he did. Yeah.
So that tells me that there's, which I think is fair enough. I believe all zombies retain a little bit of themselves in there. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's kind of how I think of zombies. Johnny Recap says 100% agreed. Look how locked down everything was for COVID, and that wasn't 1% of the rage virus exactly.
It's true.
Speaking of the rage virus, I'm seeing Madison. She might be making her way back here. She's getting sick of watching Bluey. She might come raging in a second. We shall see. So I feel like I've said a lot of what I wanted to say. I'm sure there's some other bits we can get to. The third act with the idea. Someone mentioned it earlier, but like now there's 2 enemies. You've got the zombies after you, but also Code Red. is going on. So you've got the military trying to kill everybody, which is pretty cool. You've got some kind of unbelievable stuff there. I'll keep calling him Michael from Lost. First of all, why would he be? Oh, we've got these people trying to escape. You're trying to escape. Well, I'm gonna take you over to these zombies with his helicopter, and then the fact that he wipes out all those zombies with a helicopter blade. Like, that's probably the biggest thing that would never happen in 28 Days Later. But in this, we're like, fuck it. Like, let's have him kill him with the helicopter blade.
You know what's crazy is that I've only seen that done in, maybe because I haven't seen enough, but I've only seen that done in 2 films, and both those films came out the same year. Dead Planet or the Dead Planet, Robert Rodriguez.
Planet Terror.
Planet Terror, yes.
Okay. Bro, I thought I had seen that in something else.
Yeah,
that's funny. I forgot about that. That's funny. There's a scene in Demons from 1980s where it's a bit of a different thing, but a helicopter inside of a movie theater. There's some similar shit going on there. You mentioned it earlier, that night vision bit. Now you helped me understand why that's in the movie. Like, I'm like, this feels forced in and just a little bit weird. We've got one person with night vision, and she's telling people to go take a step to your left, grab the railing, shit like that. But you saying that sounds like a scene that was described in the first one makes perfect sense. Then it feels like a little bit forced into the movie.
Of them, I feel like that was them trying to do like some video game shit or something, like with where she's got the night vision. Oh, right. One thing, this is a minor annoyance, was that they use that fucking filter where they shoot at day, but it makes it look at night. Or when they're doing the sniper
night
thing.
for day.
Yes, yeah. I can't stand that look, bro.
Same, dude. I hated that. I hated that. They don't do it for long, but I remember thinking to myself, I think I put it in my notes, like, it's so hard to see. Like, I hate any time where it's like hard to fucking see. Day for night.
Fucking glare.
Thank you. I might have said night for day. This is a great point too. Sal says, I thought it was interesting that the zombies can starve and don't just live forever. This, to me, the first time I watched this movie, I was like, oh, I guess I didn't understand 28 Days Later. Like, when I watched 28 Days Later, I assumed that he woke up 28 days later and the world had been zombified. I didn't realize that it was something that was just in the UK or on that island. So that always threw me off.
Because remember, in the scene where they're about to go kill Jim and the other soldier that was kind of trying to defend him, like, they kill that soldier, but then like Jim's hiding in the bodies, and it starts to rain, and he sees like the jet flyover pass, and that's like the reason Jim decides to like really man up and go back, and he's like, oh, he's got hope now that, you know, this isn't
okay.
But and then, you know, at the end when they fly over, but I'm very curious about, this is random, but I'm very curious about how years is, and it kind of makes sense if the virus was changing in this movie with like the dad learning and shit like that. Because it's like, I always took it as like the human form of rabies. You know, it's like they are zombies, but that's like a slight little difference where they're just fucking vicious. They just want to fuck you up. Right. And it's like, that's all they want to do until they run on 10 until they have got no more energy in the tank, you know, and then they don't want to eat. They don't want to drink anything.
Similar it is to Cujo that we just did last week.
Yes.
It is the same thing.
Rabies.
It's like, it is just human rabies. Yeah, it is interesting. That like, what are they going to do? Because let's get into that now. I haven't watched the preview. I've seen a few stills from the new movie. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. We know it's 28 years later. I assume that it's like a global thing at this point. We know it from the end of this movie. It's in Paris. So it's got to mainland Europe. We can assume that maybe the sun
is definitely
the one that like the catalyst for it all. Like, will they reference this movie in the new one? And like, what are they going to do?
I'm kind of hoping they do, just because there's some interesting bits, because it's like at the end, spoiler alert, like you see the helicopter pilot flying the kids away, and it's going towards the rest of Europe. And, you know, it does another 28 days later flash forward, and you see some zombies running towards the fucking the Eiffel Tower. But before that, you see like a helicopter. And see, I rewound this a few times because there's like a photo of a family, but it's not Harold Peru. It's like of maybe it was like his partner or something. But I thought, okay, then I was thinking maybe it's a military helicopter from France, you know, like, but there's a helicopter picture that a kid drew that said "to Dad" in English. So I'm like, maybe that is Harold Peru's helicopter, and like, because I definitely had to be the kid because he's the only way the virus got out. But I'm hoping. I didn't really care for him as an actor. I like Imogen Poots, but I wouldn't mind if they brought her back, and she can kind of be that leftover
that
material. Bridge, yeah.
Right. Who is this?
Cool.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was in Nosferatu. I'm not very familiar with, dude, bro. That speaking of movies that I should have seen that I've never seen. I've never seen Kick-Ass. I've never seen that. I own it even. I even own a card that has a little piece of the uniform used in Kick-Ass, but I've never seen, seen that movie. Yeah, I wanted on some PCP thing a while back.
Not too bad, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's part of me. I wonder if, like, you know, the first time I watched this movie, I'm like looking because everyone survived. Not everyone, but 3 people survived the first one. So you're waiting to see, like, is Jim going to pop up? Or these people going to pop up? That might have been part of my disappointment that it didn't, like, tie in more with that the first time. But I don't know. I enjoyed the shit out of it. This time around, Jay says this is probably the first and last time you'll ever hear Cujo in 28 weeks later compared to each other. I'm sure. I'm sure you're right.
I mean, but that's a human rabies. That's, you know, that's yeah.
Right. Let's go ahead and let's rate this bad boy and get up out of here, man. I think this is just getting me more and more hyped for 28 years later. I will be so disappointed if it's not like a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like, I have my expectations are way up here just because I don't think that they would come back unless they had a really good idea. They're not going to come back. We've talked about this before a little bit. My fear is that this is going to feel like a long Walking Dead episode just because of the look of everything. And I think we're all kind of zombie apocalypsed out in that way. So there's got to be a really good story with a twist that's something fresh. But then I also want like a twist on the zombie. Like, you don't got to reinvent them, but put your stamp on, like, oh, now zombies do this, or now they're like this, and we didn't know it before.
I'm curious as to if they'll be able to pull that off. It's like, you know, how Running was such a crazy, and they've done it and other things, but Danny Boyle and Garland definitely commercialized it. You know, they made that a common thing. But I'm curious as to what they could, if there's something they could make like a staple for zombies now in today's age that no one had. You know what? Zack Snyder's Land of the Dead or Army of the Dead was kind of like, other movies flirted with it, but you know, the sentient, but he had more of a culture of sentient zombies. I'm wondering if like that is what we're gonna see in this. Like, and
you know what? I honestly hope not. You know what I mean? Because just because I've never liked that. Like, that's kind of the arc that Romero Zombies took. And I don't know if Army of the Dead is like, is that supposed to be part of like the Land of the Dead, Day of the Dead? Like, I don't know.
That's his whole thing. Yeah, that's Zack Snyder's own thing. I thought it was going to be like,
is it a sequel to his Dawn of the Dead?
You
know what I
mean? There's like no characters or references, but it's one of those things where it's like, maybe it's because he hasn't written the connections yet. Like, there's nothing to say it doesn't take place in the same universe, but they didn't acknowledge it.
It's left loose. You can headcanon whatever you want to.
Yeah.
I don't know what my point of that was. Oh, like, I've never, like, Land of the Dead, Romero's 4th film. It's pretty cool. I mean, Day of the Dead is where they start that with Bub. He starts to talk, and in Land of the Dead, they're starting to have like a culture society at the end of that one. And I feel like that's been done, and I never really loved that idea because I don't know. There's just something about it that didn't appeal to me. Yeah, I hope it's something fucking crazy. I don't know. I'm just looking. I want to see what is that shot that has that zombie with 27,000 iPhones strapped to them. Like, what do they do? What are they doing that for? I'm so excited. All right, let's rate this thing. Johnny Recaps give it a 3.75. Too hard to follow up an original like that. Hell yeah, man. Sales also right there with a 3.75. All right, where are you stand on 28 weeks later? Missing link.
I'm right there with Johnny Recap and Sal. I'm at last night I was just like, you know what? Because in the past it was like a 4.2, but I think it really is like it's a fun movie, but like Johnny said, it's hard I mean, let's be real. Boyle and Garland might not even live up to it with years,
Right.
so
Right.
that's
Easily.
just a monumental thing that so that's why it's like, for me, all the nitpicks of this movie is like, it's very minor because that to a days is so amazing. So this movie's fun. It's serviceable if you love zombies. It's got great zombie bits, cool scenes. The military. Jeremy Renner's badass in anything he does. He does add a coolness factor to this. There's a scene in the trailer that I wish they would have added. So when he's pushing this, sorry, this is random tangent, but when he's pushing the car with the kids at the end, right? And he's about to get flamethrowed. And in the trailer, he like gives the kids like a wink. And maybe it's just because of the music and the editing, it seemed, but it was like, why would you not include that in the movie? Like, he's gone out of his way to like protect these kids and like make sure they feel safe and all this shit. And like, even in this moment, he's trying to, he knows it was a wrap for him. He's like letting them know, like, it's all good. You guys are going to be okay. It just would have added more strength to his character. I feel like, that calm under pressure thing. But no, it's 3.7.
He's the other side of the coin, excuse me, to their dad. Their dad didn't make the sacrifice move, and Jeremy Renner does make the sacrifice move, and he barely knows him. That's why, like, all those things are there. I just wish they could have done a little bit more with that, but there's not enough time to do, because they did quite a lot.
Yeah.
3.75?
Yeah. Would you have trimmed anything down before you give it? I just wanted, like, would you have, like, maybe the ending? Because I feel like that's where it kind of is.
You know what? I would have taken out that the video game bit with the night vision. I thought that was the most forced in scene. Yeah, that would be the one that I would take out. But I wasn't, like, honestly, I'll give my rating. I'm going to give it a 4, just because all of the stuff that we've mentioned are nitpicks with the coincidences. If any of that did cross my mind for a moment while watching it last night, it didn't hinder my experience at all.
You didn't.
I was really into it, and then the reason why I'll give it a 4 also is, like, afterwards I was asking my wife, I was like, "Have you seen 28 Weeks Later?" She's like, "How does that go?" And I started to explain to her, like, how the opening is. Then he's got to go talk to his wife, and I'm like getting myself hyped up. This movie's fucking awesome. Like, the one I'm talking about, I'm like, yeah, they really did a good job. It's hard, man. It's obviously, like, that's one of the greatest horror movies of all time. Like, to follow it up with anything that is, like, even close to a good movie is, like, so impressive to do. And I thought they did enough. They had enough of a twist on it that I'll give it a 4.
And it's, to riff off that, it's about the balancing act, because there are some people that, as amazing as today's Days is, that Days might not be for them, and it's like, I think all the problems people have, it's like, if you have a problem with Days, most of those problems are rectified in weeks, and if you have a problem with weeks, most of those problems rectified in a day. So it's a good yin and yang between the two movies, so they balance each other.
I was thinking that too, because that was my thought. I'm like, this, 28 weeks is more entertaining, and then I'm thinking about, like, no, there's so many good moments in the first one too. There's just, like, it's that time in between that is different and more somber, which kind of, you could argue that makes the exciting moments more impactful. Johnny Recap's basically saying he wouldn't change any scenes, he wouldn't take any out, but he would shorten the length of them. He thought the pacing was a bit of an issue, which I could see. Pacing is so subjective to, like, how strong my ADHD is working at the time or whatever.
That's true.
Self-diagnosed right here, but there's sometimes where I'm more like, I don't know. I was really, like, in the mood for the movie last night and sunk right into it. And was pretty goddamn thrilled.
You know what? Sorry that this isn't good. I mean, this shows that the movie is actually pretty solid, because it's it makes you think, it makes you want to talk about it. But fuck, what? Fuck. No, it'll come. It wasn't worth it then. Shit. But
she's arrived.
I'm thinking on the spot.
She has arrived, just to show people that it's 2 p.m. and she's still in her pajamas.
Hey,
all right. So let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. You guys in the chat, Johnny Recaps, Jace, Sal, you guys are the shit. Oh, I meant to mention at the beginning of this, Ninja Go Boy, you as well. You're the shit as well, buddy. This is our last Wednesday show. Maybe not the last one ever. Who knows what'll happen? But we do plan on moving the afternoon show back to Thursday night. It's going to be 8 Central Standard Time, every Thursday night. And next week, we kick off our return to our new time slot with 28 years later, as Madison is doing her best to try and distract us. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. I'm ending this. We're trying to wrap this up, Madison. Just give me 1 second. But Link, my brother, I appreciate you. We better just get out of here before this whole thing is taken down. You guys in the chat, appreciate the shit out of you. We'll see you next Thursday night for 28 years later.